Hello and welcome to another episode of The Diplomats, brought to you by diplomacybriefing.com. I'm Wardy. I'm joined once again by Mr. Eric Grinnell. Hello, Eric.
Hey, guys and girls.
We are looking in today's episode at Fall and Winter 1903 in the Nexus Season 7 Finals game. And we start off, we've got some more new artwork from the very talented Lady Razor. And Jordan is having a little bit of problem on England. Sort of can't really go very far. He's not had that much chance to venture very far, and he's in trouble. And I believe this is a reference to Father Ted. Don't tell me I'm still on that feckin' island.
Now I gotta ask you a cultural lesson. Okay, in my experience, that word feckin', that's an Irish word. Is it? Do you guys use the word feckin' in England as well?
No, I think that's very much from Ireland. Certainly, it's Father Ted. I think was prominent on bringing it to a lot of English people's ears.
Okay.
I think this is a quote from Father.
So
Ted.
it's an Irish word, but it's an English program. I get it. Okay. All right.
Oh no, it's an Irish. It is an Irish sitcom.
Okay. So apologies are owed to the English. I understand. Okay. All right. Someone else will have to extend that apology.
Sprung a leak here as well.
It's not my place.
And and the flying Hinden boats, Karthik, bearing the Austrian flag, has crashed his game. It's gone up in flames, and not going well, as we will.
I think that piece of art was preliminary at the time it was drawn, but now we can call it prescient. So
yes, absolutely. And let's have a look at these Fall 1903 moves, and let's start in the East, because there's a lot going on, and it doesn't look great for Karthik.
Well, the first thing I see is that Turkey did the thing that I said he should do, but then predicted that he wouldn't do.
Just a convoy to Armenia.
The convoy to Armenia. So John, I owe you an apology. You are in fact smarter than I thought you were. Congratulations, sir. So
that's like a backhanded compliment, isn't it?
That's all you get from me. That's all you get.
So that enables him to put pressure on Sev again.
I'm still concerned that it's a little too little, a little too late. I think Turkey's early floundering in a game that ends in 1910 has put him at a serious tempo advantage. And for him to have the opportunity to be competitive in this game and come back and be competitive for the top of this board would take major cataclysmic failure by multiple other players. I think Turkey's moves and his game of ping pong early on has hurt him.
So a disadvantage. Okay, yeah,
he's at a disadvantage. However, Khan to Armenia via the convoy was undoubtedly the right thing to do. Turkey and Italy, they made moves that guaranteed that Italy would not lose Greece to Austria. However, if Russia and Austria had been able and willing to coordinate, they could have taken Bulgaria from Turkey together. But as is clearly indicated by Serbia to Romania, Austria wasn't on board for that kind of cooperation. So Italy did take Trieste with the convoy, with Germany cutting Vienna support, exactly as I predicted. However, he got unexpected, in my mind, unexpected support from Galicia. So now we know that this arrangement in the north, with Russia going to Norway and Germany going to Sweden and Baltic going to Denmark, that was all agreed to and arranged as to and between Russia and Germany. It worked out well. I'm not. I have to wonder. I have to wonder what Russia's long-term plans are to get anything out of this in the long run of this game. You know, where is Russia planning to be in 1908, heading into 1910, where he still has the opportunity to be competitive? That
it feels like he's just sort of taken his foot off the gas a little bit at a vital moment.
Yeah.
What has he gained? Because I mean, yeah, he's got Norway, but that's about it.
You know. Well, and we'll when we get to who's gained what, we'll talk about that in the winter. But you know, Russia and Turkey, I've said all along, they are behind the tempo game, and neither one of them are doing what they need to do to be competitive at the end of this game, and that continues to be the case. I think the player who is most effectively advancing himself across the board is Germany. Germany is now in Vienna and is in Bohemia. Winner will need to see if he decides to build a third fleet or if he drops another army in Munich. It depends on which front he's most interested in advancing. But by a mile, Ed has the best tempo game on this board. Ed has the most advanced matriculation of his units on this board. No question asked. No question asked. Getting Russia to agree to support him into Vienna, I have to expect that Karthik did not see that coming. If Karthik had seen that coming, he would not have done a self-bounce in Budapest.
Yeah, so it's to protect Budapest, but then, yeah, it hasn't helped.
I wouldn't be surprised if I wouldn't be surprised to find out in a private conversation with Karthik, which I will have at some point, that he didn't expect Galicia to support Tyrolia to Bohemia or Tyrolia to Vienna. He also didn't expect Munich to Bohemia either. So, some days you're the dog, and some days you're the hydrant. And I'm not going to say which day it is for Karthik, but I will take note of the fact that he's colored red, folks.
When I first saw this, I was wondering what Serbia to Rum was all about. But is that to stop what you were suggesting about convoying Sev into Rum and moving Rum out into Sev? And so is it to prevent that switcheroo between Sev and Rum?
Well, as we have said, this game is less about the tactics of the board than it is about the diplomacy going on behind the scenes. Okay.
Presumably the only other thing it can be is that Karthik's expecting support into Romania. But
I believe that what went on here is Karthik was expecting support into Romania. Yes. Because and like I told you, you know, a normal human being, when he sees a drowning man, he throws that drowning man a rope. When a diplomacy player sees a drowning man, he sells him air. I believe that's what happened here. I think Karthik was floundering, trying to make something happen, and Turkey offered him support to Romania, so he decided to give it a try. That would also explain the bounce in Budapest. On the off chance that he needed a place to build, he needed to keep Budapest vacant. Just covering it wouldn't do him any favors. If he was successful making it into Budapest while he lost Trieste, he wouldn't have a place to put a build.
Yeah.
So
it seems very optimistic in the circumstances.
I think Karthik really thought he had a shot at Romania. I think he really did. But what's gone on in the East and why the East is so less advanced against the West, you know, it's self-evident here. Okay. Italy attacked Austria. Austria attacked Italy. Austria attacked Russia. Turkey attacked Russia. Turkey attacked Austria. And now we got Germany attacking Austria too. Russia, furthermore, attacked Austria also by supporting Germany into Vienna. So it's no coincidence that this is going on in the Balkans, because it's historically accurate. So, but the slow development of the East is very much to the advantage of France and Germany. And as this is playing out, it is also turning out to work to the advantage of Krill, who I was critical of early in the game, said, oh, he's just moving around in circles. He's not accomplishing anything. This is why Krill's in the final game, and I'm sitting here in front of this camera. He's a better player than me. It has worked out for him, and he was right.
I mean, this is nice position for Italy. I mean, France is moving the armies away from him. If he's got an army in Piedmont, that's that's bad news, I suppose. But that even Marseille's moved north to Burgundy. He's got fleet supremacy in the Med. We've got the Turkish friendly fleet in Aegean. He's got 3. France has none down there. And now he's got his border secured by, he's planted an army in Trieste via the convoy. Pretty sweet.
I'll be very curious to see the builds. I haven't looked at the builds yet. I'm very shocked. I'm very, very shocked that Ed gave him Belgium. I don't think he had to give it, unless Greg made an argument that couldn't be ignored. That's very, very shocking. So the only question there is, are we going to see a fleet Brest or a fleet Marseille? That's the only question that we have to ask about France's builds. But for Germany to give him that dot is very, I think I got a slide that shows my opinion of the relationship between Germany and France at this point. Do you have that handy? Yeah, there you go. There you go. And if you look at the body language there, I think that the Love a Lot bear is enjoying that a lot more than what's the blue bear? That's sleepy time, isn't it?
I will have to bow to your superior Care Bear knowledge.
But that's funny on multiple levels, sir. Yeah, Red's enjoying this one more than Blue, so we're gonna call Red Ed, and we're gonna call Greg the Blue one, because this whole dynamic, even though Ed is giving up dots to Greg, the dynamic right now I think heavily favors Ed, but. For the only 2 powers on the board that are truly competitive for a top spot, to a lesser extent Italy, to a slightly even lesser extent Russia, for France and Germany to be trading dots at this point in the game, they decided, okay, I don't know who it's going to be yet, and we'll still fight it out, but let's go ahead and agree one of the 2 of us is going to win this game.
Well, who's least happy, do you think, to have seen that gifting of Belgium?
Well, Jordan, of course. Any other question that's not obvious?
Well, I don't know how much Jordan can do about it anyway. But I'm thinking Russia. I don't like that if I'm Russia, because if Ed's not fighting France and is giving him dots. Yeah, he's gone after Vienna for now, but Germany's not going to win this game by going all the way to like Serbia. Well, and if you're not fighting France,
if I was Russia, I would be livid. I just gave you a dot, Ed Sullivan, and I didn't give it to you so that you could turn around and give it to Greg. Where's my damn dot?
Well, if you don't want it, I think I'll have it back, please.
Russia should be furious, because not only did Germany give France a dot, but he also moved Holland to Kiel, Munich to Bohemia, Tyrolia to Vienna.
This is not putting up a wall against France, is it?
Spencer, you're not reading your map, sir. If you need help reading a map, hit me up on Discord. I'll give you a primer because you're not doing it right, sir.
Just when we thought you'd changed.
I had to get it out.
Hi, Eric. Good to have you back.
Yeah, if I was Russia, I'd be very livid about last season's turn of moves. But I also don't think that Russia can any longer afford to flip-flop back and forth. I think he's now kind of committed. I think he's kind of sold. And where I'd expect to see consequences for this, for Ed in the long term, is I think in the long term, France and Italy are going to continue to stay neutral. And after Italy is finished consuming Austria, I think he'll keep plowing into Turkey. Meanwhile, when England is out of the way, my anticipation is going to be that France and Russia are going to work together against Ed in Germany. And all that together yields a result that I think looks very favorable for Greg. The tempo right now favors Ed, but the long-term board dynamics, Ed is going to run out of places where he can pick up dots. He's not moving any farther south. Italy. Remember what I said last season about how Ed was helping Italy get strong because he would be a bulwark against France? Remember that? Well, Italy is now a bulwark against Germany as well. Germany is not heading any farther south. He may go further east. He may go take Warsaw, Moscow, St. Petersburg. He may. But he's not getting any farther south. I think that with the army on the island, Greg has the advantage of getting those English dots. So
let me ask this then, Eric. If Ed was thinking, I'm going to have to fight France in this game, was this the moment to have done it?
I don't know that it was well, he kind of did do it. A little bit, he did do it. If he was really, really playing up to Greg, Edinburgh should have cut North Sea. Edinburgh should have cut North Sea. It ended up not mattering. Because North Sea ended up being the mover.
Did English Channel try to get into North Sea? So he could have supported
in getting into North Sea. Liverpool could have walked into Edinburgh. So that might be why he did it. But there was obviously some conversation about Ed going to North Sea because look at that Russian support from Norway.
Yeah.
So
I'm going to understand Ed not wanting to move out in case Liverpool tried for it.
But the solution there is you do it, and then you tell Greg, look, man, no, I can't give you Belgium. Okay. Yeah. But what I am going to do is I am going to cut North Sea to make sure that you've got your best chance of getting London. But because me cutting North Sea means I might lose Edinburgh, I can't afford to give you Belgium right now. That's the way
Is it possible then that they said, okay, well, we'll agree that you will do one of these two things, but to avoid any leaks, don't confirm which one.
Well, and probably what we're looking at here, based on what we know about Ed's playing style, Ed probably presented it as an either or. Told Greg, hey, look, I can either do this or do this. I can't do both. And Greg said, yeah, fine, give me Belgium. I wouldn't be surprised at all to find out that's what happened.
But then knowing this is going to happen, Belgium support Munich to Burgundy would be quite tasty.
Munich doesn't have to go to Burgundy. Munich going to Bohemia tells me that Ed is probably more likely to build an army in Munich than he is to build a third fleet. So, and if he's doing that, he must be relying on that Russian fleet in Norway for his future plans. So he obviously feels pretty good about what's going on with Russia. And I mean, a lot of these moves show very much that Russia is in Germany's orbit.
Okay, so you don't think this is necessarily this isn't saying I'm not going to do anything to France ever, I'm coming after Russia. This is just him trying to walk a tightrope. Who his next target is?
Next year is going to be a big year for Ed Sullivan, because next year, someone that he has been playing off both sides, somebody, whether it's Italy or France or Russia, somebody's going to have to find out next year that Ed Sullivan has been lying to them. I wish it were going to be France. I think that would make for the most competitive game where people are clear of thought and reason and intent. But admitting to myself that I don't know as much about the game as I think I do, and starting to try to see the game through the lens of other people's eyes, I suspect Ed is going to go after Russia next. So I think that's where we're at there. I will say this: Jordan made all of the exact right moves. Jordan made the optimal moves available for him for the 3 units that he's got, trying to defend the 2 dots that he still has any chance of keeping. His situation and Austria's situation have a lot in common. A lot in common. And if this wasn't a competitive tournament game, a lot of games that end at this point. You eliminate England, you eliminate Austria, you vote a 5-way draw. And you leave the guys that got eliminated sitting there going, all this was so you could get rid of me and vote a draw? What the hell? And we can all look at it and say, yeah, you're right. What the heck? But we've seen games end that way over and over and over again for years. This game isn't going to end that way. Not with these players on the board. These players are good players with a real goal in mind. So the game's going to continue.
I mean, I'd be surprised if this draws early.
No, this ain't gonna draw. This ain't gonna draw. It's not, you know. England, Germany, or France, Germany, and Italy conceivably could have an agreement behind the veil that they're going to get to a point where they can split a 3-way evenly. 34 doesn't divide into 3, so somebody else will be getting the survival. But something's going to change. The thing that I do not think is going to change anytime soon is I think that Italy and France are going to continue to show each other love. I think they're going to continue to show each other love. I think that Germany will build an army in Munich because his next goal really is to go east. I think France is going to build a fleet in Brest because he needs a fleet. And he's not going to build it in Marseille. He's not going to antagonize Italy. He's not. Italy's going to have to build an army. He's going to have to build an army. And he's in a little bit of a jam. If he builds a fleet in Naples, he can't convoy that thing over to Albania without risking losing Greece. So, he could continue to rely on the good graces of Turkey. Albania will not be able to support Serbia to Greece because a convoy of Naples to Ionian would cut that support. So Serbia will have to support Albania to Greece. So Austria will have to hope that Turkey doesn't cut him. Italy will be depending on Turkey to cut him. This will also put Turkey in a position to start stabbing Italy because Turkey will be in a position to take Greece. So based on what I'm looking at,
Austria's got a pull, hasn't he? Yeah, Austria's pulling.
Well, Austria owns Budapest and Serbia. Serbia exists. Albania exists. If he pulls, he's still going to have to pull another.
Yes, Vienna's been blown up.
We see here in retreats, Trieste retreats to Tyrolia. Okay? I would think that he will keep Serbia and Tyrolia and that he will disband Albania. It's a real shame here. It's a real shame here. I don't think he was anticipating Galicia supports Tyrolia to Vienna. I think he assumed that if he did lose Vienna or Tyrolia, that he'd be able to retreat it. He just wasn't planning to lose Vienna. By losing Vienna, Tyrolia can't retreat to Budapest, so Tyrolia is his only available retreat. So he's going to keep the armies. The only place he can keep the armies now is Serbia and Tyrolia. He'll disband Albania, I would guess. He'd be much better off if he were in Serbia and Budapest. Much better off if he were in Serbia.
It's a shame. Yeah, had he not have self-bounced, he could have done that. But I was just looking at that Albania tap of Greece, and it's not tapping anything that Austria should be, concerned about, like in terms of support-wise. So that looks like, to confirm what you were saying earlier about expecting support into Romania, it looks like he's also expecting support into Greece.
Expect hope? I don't know. You got three pieces. You got three ingredients in this biscuit. Okay, it's one part expect, one part hope, one part I don't give a damn. So he's stuck with a worthless unit. He's stuck with a worthless unit that really doesn't have anything he can do. I know Karthik. I know he's looked at this map, and I know he knows that going to Adriatic is pointless because a one unit bounce isn't going to affect a convoy, and he knows the convoy's coming. It looks like he also knew that he was probably getting cut in Serbia. That's why he put Serbia in motion. He didn't try and use Serbia to support Tyrolia. He knows the writing's on the wall. So he knows.
Can we go ahead and look at the build phase?
Do we have anything else to talk about? I don't think so. Let's go ahead. Oh, look, wait, back up. There's one more thing. Go back to the map. Ed Sullivan still doesn't know how to cover Munich. Move on.
I'll have to bear this in mind for next time I play against Netherlands and Germany.
I'll bet you he covers Munich for a good long time. Yeah.
We have a fleet in Brest.
Yeah.
That's the answer to Greg's two thoughts, and that probably makes sense. Oh, I need it to deal with England, but oh look, now it's here that can do some damage to Germany down the line.
Exactly. Germany did build the army in Munich. Austria
that's probably a little better for Russia, I suppose, than Berlin, I suppose.
Say again.
That's a little better for Russia than seeing Army Berlin or even Fleet Berlin.
Yeah, Army Berlin would be warning bells. Army Berlin would be warning bells. It'd be tough nuggets. Army Munich isn't really all that better.
Karthik pulls Albania. I think that's probably the right move, isn't it? Army Naples. Yeah, heading for the convoy.
It ends up being a smarter move than I was looking at, and it makes sense. If Italy did his builds with the need for Austria to disband a unit in mind, knowing that the most likely unit that Austria would disband is Albania, then that convoy makes sense. It's still placing a lot of faith in Turkey. So
what do you do here if you are Karthik in Austria? What's your diplomatic strategy? Do you
go on to play dip and start looking for joinable games?
But who's your best shot? I mean, Russia might help you now, given that Turkey is sort of declared war by going into Armenia. But I don't see a long-term sort of bounce back. I suppose you need you'd be screaming at Ewok to at Greg to send some French fleets at Italy to distract Krill.
Well,
he's really in a tight spot.
It's Greg has at least 3 units tied up this year. Probably at least 4 units tied up this year. Okay, Brest has to go to English. And then Irish has to support Wales to Liverpool. And Mayo's got to go to Neo. Okay? Because if Ed decides that he's going to swing Eddie around and use Clyde to support Liverpool, then he can hold that off. Now, Jordan's most likely move set next spring is going to be London supports Liverpool to Wales, Liverpool to Wales. So Greg would order Brest up to English. Greg would order Brest up to English, so that, all right, if you do that, if you support Liverpool to Wales, then you'll keep it for a season, but I'm taking it in the fall. But doing that necessitates having Mayo and Neo just in case he needs to cut Clydesdale.
Would you send Irish C to Liverpool here if you're Greg then?
If I'm Greg,
yeah,
I go Wales to Liverpool, Irish convoy Wales to Liverpool.
Yeah, that'd be lovely. I really hope that happens now. Wouldn't that be fab? Oh, come on.
So Greg is going to continue to play nice with Germany in 1904. It'll be interesting to see if Ed lets him get away with that or not. He's got an army superiority right now. And if he doesn't take advantage of that army superiority, he may lose that opportunity moving forward. Okay. Ed was probably hoping to see a fleet from Italy. Didn't see a fleet from Italy. Now that we're going into 1904 and Italy and France have stayed this good of friends, Ed needs to start realizing, they're never going to fight. Ed should probably go ahead and use that army superiority he's got to move on Greg now. He should look for a diplomatic solution to anchor Vienna, use Vienna to support Bohemia to Tyrolia, because then Tyrolia can move into Piedmont.
Yeah.
So that's what I would do. That is what I would do there if I were Ed. But Ed and I don't have the same playing style, so it's most likely that Ed will not do what I just described. But you're right. I hope Greg does Wales to Liverpool, Irish convoy Wales to Liverpool, because awesome is worth the show. That's why. So, I think Russia has to continue to support Sev, has to continue to support Romania. The only unit that Russia has available to him to do anything with, that he's free to do what he wants, is the army in Galicia and the fleet in Norway. Ed has a lot he can do here. So I don't know if he's brave enough to try and take France and Russia on at the same time. I'm going to guess he probably isn't. So the question is, as of right now, who's he going to move against? Is he going to move against Greg, or is he going to move against Spencer? I believe the answer is he will probably in 1904 move against Spencer. So,
yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you. Yeah, I mean, Spencer's got this irritating Turkey situation again, but then John's not going to get Sev still.
John needs to demand Greece from Italy this year. John needs to say, I have been a good ally. You're making good progress. We're going to make you more good progress. You need to give me Greece. It's the only fair thing. It's the only fair thing. I'm not building any fleets. Putting me in Greece is a nice, safe place, because if I put my fleet in Greece, it's never going to go anywhere, because that's the only thing covering Greece.
Meanwhile, Spencer's either got to use Carthage or make sure he gets Budapest.
That workless fleet in Rum, as far as projecting power westward goes, it's worthless. It doesn't have the ability to do anything for Carthage. If Ed will commit Bohemia to cutting Galicia, and I think Team Italy, Turkey, with an assist on the north end from Ed, will continue to grind him out. I'm pretty sure that Carthage is going to die before Jordan. They might die at the same time. They might both die in 1904. So
if you are Ed and you're going after Spencer next, then you try and help Karthik keep hold of Budapest, don't you? You sort of lend support for Serbia to Bud.
That might be what Munich might be there to cut Tyrolia just to make sure it stays worthless. Meanwhile, Vienna can support Bohemia to Galicia. I wouldn't be surprised if, once again, this isn't a tactical question. This is a diplomatic question. I am playing out of my depth and I am playing out of my league because these players have me outclassed. But Ed and Greg might move away from each other in Munich and Burgundy, and they might return to a DMZ there. So how long until spring posts?
I believe it should have done already as we record. It's 20 to 9.
Well, maybe we'll do a quick take.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll finish this up and do a quick take. But I think Ed has done a masterful job in maintaining a mutually respectful, mutually beneficial relationship with Greg, while ever so delicately turning Russia into a happy puppet that isn't getting anything out of the deal. I wouldn't trust Ed with my daughter on prom night based on the way he's treated Russia.
Yeah, Russia really helped Ed up off the floor. And doesn't really have anything to show. It took Sweden, has swapped that for Norway, stayed still this year, and is got a big back door wide open here.
I don't think that either of these players are the type of player who would do it, but I think an observer who doesn't know and respect the players the way we do to look at this map and say, I wonder why Ed paid Spencer. Be a pretty reasonable question to ask.
But we wouldn't say that.
We would never say that, especially me. I'm the kinder, gentler Eric. So,
shall we have a look at a few comments from this season?
Sure.
Here are the ones I've picked out. Regarding that Austrian self-bounce in Budapest, Seren said, well, we don't have a comma here, but I'm assuming Seren is saying, never self-bounce kids, not never self-bounce kids. But while we're on the subject, never self-bounce kids. Just don't do it. It's not worth it. Don't do it.
I got to disagree with Seren. Seren, I could talk to you for 10 hours and point to you at games where self-bouncing is very, very, very effective. Anyone who says never self-bounce is speaking in absolutes that just don't exist in this hobby. There are tons of situations where self-bounces are very effective. That having been said, this self-bounce in Budapest was foolish and should not have occurred. And
she just sort of say, and I think this is one you probably agree with here, the why that it wasn't good here. It would have permitted preservation of a unit in Budapest, which some people would say is a better place for it than Tyrolia. The fact that there was a self-bounce there meant it wasn't available for the retreat.
The real pity of Budapest not being available for a retreat is not that he had to retreat to Tyrolia. It's that it extended the uselessness of that fleet in Albania. And I believe that
he's pulled it now. He's pulled it,
but Karthik would be much better off right now if he was in Serbia and Budapest than he would be the way he is now in Serbia and Tyrolia. Italy is so strong in the middle, especially with that fleet in Adriatic, got nothing else to do but support Trieste hold. Serbia and Tyrolia are weak. They are not going to be able to connect. They are not going to be able to mutually support. The only thing Serbia and Tyrolia can do is sit around and watch each other die. Because Karthik has been trying now for what, 3 turns to find somebody to work with him and help him. And absolutely everybody's had the exact same response for him. And it only involved one finger, and it's not this one.
Is it come here? I can help you. No, not that one either. Okay.
No. And you've seen it with the moves. You've seen people promising Karthik things and then just not delivering.
Yeah, that's clear.
You know, it's the saddest position on the board, and that's what Karthik is going through right now. And that's a real shame because Karthik's a better player than that. He deserves a better experience than that, and he deserves more respect than that. And if any player on the eastern side of that map had decided that they would use Karthik as an asset, they would have the advantage in the East. Nobody wanted
we've seen how he can make himself useful to people to survive. So
no one decided to make use of him. No one decided to make use of him, and I think that reflects poor judgment because Karthik would make an excellent vassal. Not at this stage in the game. At this stage in the game, he's worthless. At this stage of the game, he's lunch. 2 seasons ago, Karthik could have been a very, very valuable asset. And the fact that nobody anywhere on the eastern side of the board was willing to grab it and take it, that surprises me. It surprises me a lot.
Maybe, Western power, Germany could still find something out of it, like throwing him at Russia or something. Who knows?
Now, Riaz agreed with me. You asked, who's most angry about Ed giving Belgium to Greg? You think it's Russia. Riaz agrees with me. He thinks it's Jordan. And I agree with Riaz. It is definitely Jordan who should be most mad about Ed giving Belgium to Greg. Now,
Riaz says poor Jordan probably thinking,
relevant?
I'll make sure Greg won't build, only to see Ed give Greg Belgium.
That's when the F-bombs start falling.
Poor Jordan.
All right.
Poor Jordan.
Look at this. Audacious hand. Ed will win this for Poa. Love will triumph. Lady Razor, listen up. I got a commission job for you. I want Audacious Hand in a cheerleader's outfit with pom-poms. Because that was gratuitous.
And then you can draw a picture of it if you like.
Yeah.
Good to see you back.
Hand. Audacious Hand needs a caricature drawn of him in a cheerleader outfit with pom-poms screaming, "Go Ed." Because that's gratuitous. That's gratuitous. And we should be above that in this community. We should be above that.
There's one thing Eric Grinnell doesn't like, it's sentiment, damn it.
Shame on you. But Audacious Hand, we know each other. We've crossed swords with each other. I'm sure you're not at all surprised that I don't approve of your opinion, sir.
Oh, well, now you've got to come on now. You've got to come on the show. We're just keeping our seat warm, buddy.
Does he do the show with Ed?
Pardon?
Does Audacious Hand frequently do the show with Ed?
Oh, yeah, he covered him and Superstition joined Ed for season 6. So he's good at doing this.
Well, now there is at least a reason for the cheerleading. At least a reason. It's no longer.
Oh, I didn't even consider that.
Congratulations, Audacious Hand. Your cheerleading is no longer gratuitous. It's just insipid. Congratulations. Sure.
Oh gosh! Right on that note, I think that brings us to the end of the show. I'm excited to see what the spring adjudication has brought. So we'll have a look at that. Any final thoughts, Eric?
Audacious Hand, my ability to poke fun at you today made my day. I hope you take it in good spirits, sir.
Thanks very much for joining us, everybody. Bye-bye.